The Collector. Picture the scene if you can. A derelict neighborhood in the Russian town Novosibirsk, inhabited by the miscreants and homeless within the area. People were known to sleep under the porches of those more fortunate than themselves, scratching the earth for discarded food. It wasn't the easiest of lives for people who resided there, but it was better than what was to come. It was late November, and the fierce winter was beginning to take hold. Novosibirsk, which is known as the capital of Siberia, was mostly a quaint city with structural beauty. However, like most places, it had a dark, seedy side. And this was about to be violently exposed. As the days became shorter and the night set in the neighborhood of Kirov Street, the Collector began his scavenging. His main targets were the homeless of the city, hunting the streets at night looking for the most vulnerable people. Dressed in a long woolen old army coat, black face mask, topped off with the usual black Furushanka hat, he stalked the street hunting his prey. His reasons were quite acceptable for him, as he saw himself doing the city a favor. The police, however, had a different outlook on the sinister crimes. It was the worst period ever known in the city, and people feared to leave the house after dark. The Collector was named by the local police department for his sick compulsion for removing and collecting the body parts of his poor victims. No one knew why he felt compelled to hack off arms, legs, and other limbs, but the ritual was the same with each victim. His first victim was an elderly man, around 70 years old. He was found slumped against a trash can, and his left arm had been crudely removed by what could only be described as a carpenter's saw. The next victim was found just 2 days later, only 100 yards further along from that of the elderly man. The injuries appeared to be the same, but this time it was the right arm that was missing. Over a period of 5 weeks, a further 4 victims were found along the same stretch of road, each one missing a different body part, all crudely dismembered. There seemed to be a particular type of victim that the killer preferred. All appeared to be homeless males, aged upwards of 30 years old. This had the police baffled, as it was what appeared to be the only serial killer that they had ever encountered. There were several reports, one of the regular hobos who slept on the Kirov streets being missing, but police dismissed these as they believed he had simply moved on. They were soon to be proved wrong. They couldn't understand why he was removing body parts, and also why the bodies were left like garbage, slumped against the trash cans of the houses they slept under. After 5 weeks, the killing seemed to just stop, as if the killer had reached his endgame and disappeared. A few days later, his true mission was revealed. The police stormed the local warehouse, following a drugs tip-off, to be confronted by what can only be described as an abomination. A monster there in front of them, on a crude metal stretcher, was what remained of the victims, all sewn together to make something that resembled a human being. In the corner was Ivan Aliokin, a large man standing at around 6 feet and 8 inches tall. He turned and glared at the officers with a twisted smile, walked towards them asking if they were admiring his creation. Upon his arrest, Aliokin described his fascination with the story of Frankenstein and believed that he was the modern-day reincarnation of the Mad Doctor, Victor Frankenstein, and wanted to reanimate life after death. Aliokin was found guilty of 6 counts of murder and sentenced to life imprisonment at a high-security mental institution, the famous Kashenko Clinic in the town of Troitskoye. After serving almost 10 years, wardens in the institute found his lifeless body inside his locked cell. He had suffered from severe eye trauma, where he had skewered his own eyeball with a piece of plastic cutlery, fell to the floor, and bled out overnight. To this day, the horrors that befell the people of Kirov Street are the source of many a tale, and Aliokin earned himself the nickname of the Kirov Collector. His stories are known and used by parents to warn their children of the dangers of the streets.